This boy is about to explain something to all these students. He said that there are 4 paths branching out from the center of the classroom. They'll divide into 4 teams and start making a map. He tells them that they can use the symbols they agreed on earlier, or they can sketch it simply as long as it's understood. After 50 minutes, the bell will ring. Before that, everyone must gather back here. Each time they regroup, they'll combine the maps they've created. While the boy is explaining all this, we see that there's a dead man outside the classroom. The boy said that they'll repeat this process of going out, mapping the way, coming back to the classroom again and again until they create a map that'll lead them to the exit. Before starting, he warns them to never overexert yourself. He asks them to not even think about fighting back if they see a monster. If they sense anything even slightly strange, run away immediately. Then, they will all gather here to find a solution together. The most important thing is that they all should return alive. Right then, the bell rang and they all decided to start. Before starting, a boy looked outside the window and wondered how things ended up like this. This is the story of these students' survival, trapped in hell. A few days ago in Seoul, Dohyun's mom woke him up early in the morning to get ready for school. He also has a sister named Dohyun. Both brother and sister are in the same school and have decided to pretend not to know each other. After entering the school, Dohyun and his friends saw a place where many students were gathered. When they went there to take a look, they saw a black hole on the ground. It's a hole where if a person enters, he never returns. More than 1,000 people have already gone missing in these black holes. After that, a teacher decided to explain about these black holes. Black hole phenomenon. This phenomenon refers to the mysterious circular holes that have recently appeared around the world. According to investigations, the phenomenon is not affected by gravity. It extends from the sky to the underground. It can range in size from as small as a palm to large enough to fit a car. It appears without any consistent pattern. Despite humanity's efforts to uncover the cause of the phenomenon, the essential details, such as what is inside or why it occurs, remains unknown. The reason is that electronic devices that enter the hole break down quickly, and communication between the inside and outside is impossible. Because, to this day, not a single person who has entered the hole has never returned. The teacher also told a story about how 5 elementary school students entered a hole out of curiosity, but never returned. With that, the teacher asked them to be careful and ended the class. After that at home, Dohian and his family celebrated their father's birthday with cake and gifts. The family was really happy until something unexpected happened. Next day at school, Dohian was taking his classes like usual. But suddenly, everything outside the window turned black. When he looked outside, he saw that their whole school was getting sucked inside a black hole. After that, the news reporter reported that a high school in Seoul has been sucked inside a hole. She said that until today, they have never seen any hole of this size. Meanwhile, the parents of the students that were in the school are crying outside. The students who were outside the school, playing on the ground, didn't fall in. According to these students, a hole suddenly appeared and the school fell into it. The people who fell into the black hole, 512 students, 38 faculty members. The only ones that didn't fall were the 17 students who were on the field. Then, Dohyun suddenly woke up very scared and panicked. When he saw that he's completely fine, he thought that he just had a dream. But when he looked outside, he realized that it wasn't a dream, but his school really had fallen in the hole. The teacher is also here and asked the students if they are okay. The teacher asked everyone to check each other to make sure they all are safe. Right then, a girl named Sujene raised her hand and asked the teacher about what is going to happen to them now. Hearing her question, the teacher decided to go outside to check the situation. Suddenly, Sujene faced Dohyun and asked him if he saw it too. He thought that she was asking about the school being fallen inside the hole and answered yes. But she said that she's not asking about that. She said that the school has changed. When the teacher looked outside, he saw that the school was not looking normal. He wondered if his eyes were playing tricks on him and checked his phone. His phone had no signals, and he couldn't even make an emergency call. Suddenly, a girl appeared behind him. Meanwhile, Sujene was explaining that when they were falling in the hole, she saw everything getting distorted. She saw things fusing together, disappearing, splitting apart, stretching out. It felt to her like everything was being reconstructed. On the other hand, the teacher faced the little girl and asked her who she was and asked her if she was hurt. Suddenly, she made a really creepy face and said to the teacher, "You were walking around during class." Saying that, she cut down the teacher's head, killing him in an instant. Seeing that scene, all the students got really scared and started panicking. There, all the students decided to run away. When a guy was about to step out, the class president named Youngwoo shouted, asking him to not go out. Hearing that, a girl grabbed the guy from his shirt and pushed him inside the room before he stepped outside. After saving him, Sujene asked him if he had a death wish. Then, Youngwoo asked Dohyun to pick up the chair and told him to throw it right away if that monster who killed their teacher came inside. When that girl looked inside the classroom with a creepy smile, Dohyun was about to throw the chair at her, but Youngwoo stopped him. He stopped him because the girl didn't enter the room. She just left with a smile. All of this happened in just 10 minutes after falling into the black hole. The teacher is dead. Seeing death in real life was nothing like seeing it in a comic or drama. The chilling hallway in contrast to the warmth of the classroom. The sound of bones breaking and being torn apart. The sight of the monster and the lifeless corpse. The overwhelming stench of blood. Experiencing real death firsthand fills all the students with unimaginable fear and helplessness. Some students wanted to do something for their teacher, but the only thing they could do in this situation was closing the door. Since not everyone saw the monster outside the classroom, Youngwoo explained everything to the students. The boy named John, even after hearing everything, started laughing. He couldn't believe that there's a monster outside of their classroom who killed their teacher. And that monster is the figure on their Korean textbook cover page. So Youngwoo tells him that he wasn't the only one who saw it. Many other students also witnessed it firsthand. In the end, John decided to believe him and said that if it's just a single monster, they should be able to kill it. He said it's as simple as a little kid, and it doesn't even attack if they're inside the classroom, so there's nothing to be scared of. He said that instead of just sitting here, they should go out and deal with that monster and find other survivors. Hearing him, some other students also started saying that John's words make sense, and they should do as he said. After gathering the trust of some students, John said that they should start working on his idea immediately. But Youngwoo asked them to wait and told them that they should consider the worst-case scenario. There's a chance physical attacks don't work on that monster, or there can be many other unexpected factors. But John refuses to back down on his idea, saying that they have to do something in order to survive. He asked Youngwoo to bring a better plan instead of refusing to consider his plan. Youngwoo agreed with his idea of doing something in order to survive. But rushing into this without thinking will cost lives. They can't afford to have more victims. More than dealing with the monster, Youngwoo said that they should focus on finding a way to escape the black hole first. But John is still not agreeing to back down. He got up and said that they can't even leave because of the monster, so there's no point in finding an escape plan. He took a broom and asked the students who wants to be the bait. Raise your hand. He said that as long as there's a bait who'll lure the monster, he'll stab and kill it. Hearing John's words, Sujene called him stupid and reminded him that someone was cut in half in a single strike. And John's here talking like it's nothing. She asked him to act as bait himself if he wanted to lure that monster. Hearing all that, John came to Sujene filled with anger and asked her if she wanted to die by his hands. Sujene didn't get scared and asked him to stop acting tough and actually try killing him. Before their fight escalated, a guy named Sohan got up and said that he's done writing. He went up to the stage and gave his notebook to Youngwoo. When Youngwoo saw what was written in the notebook, he was shocked. In this notebook, Sohan has written away on how to survive in the black hole. When Youngwoo asked him, what is the meaning of surviving in the black hole? Sohan said that it's exactly as written in the notebook. He told them that they can return outside of this hole alive. He asked everyone to stop fighting and listen. To this day, people believe that no one has ever returned from the black hole. But Sohan said that there are people who have actually returned from the black hole. Sohan revealed that his uncle is actually a survivor of a black hole incident. There are many people on YouTube who claim that they have returned from the black hole, but almost all of them are fake. Hearing that, John went up to Sohan and asked him how they are supposed to believe that. Sohan simply answered that if they believe him or not, he doesn't care. But since they're already trapped, there's no harm in listening to what he has to say. With that, everyone returned to their seats and decided to listen to what Sohan had to say. To survive in the black hole, it's important to understand exactly what this place is. Number 1. The black hole is a place where everything except living beings is distorted. They have already witnessed a change after seeing that monster. Outside the classroom, it's no longer the school they knew. Hearing that, Sien asked him to explain this distorted thing more properly. She asked him about why class is unchanged and how distorted causes the monsters to come out of the textbook. First, Sohan answered her first question. He said that the moment they fell into the black hole, the closer something was to a living being, the more it retained its original form. Most likely, The other classes are safe as well. As for her second question, Sohan explained that monsters come out of the textbooks because it's not just physical objects that get distorted. Abstract concepts, too, are distorted. This school is a perfect example. All sorts of school rules, illustrations in textbooks, common school ghost stories, things that shouldn't exist in reality. All of these abstract concepts have distorted and manifested into reality. During the explanation, a girl named Nari asked everyone to look outside the window. Everyone got up and looked outside, and what they saw shocked them. They saw that their school was completely changed and turned into a horror maze. It was so complex that no one could tell where it began or ended. One girl got so scared that she fell unconscious on the spot. With that, Sohan asked them to sit on their seats, as he had many more things to explain. Number 2 in the list is those who have turned into monsters are hostile to humans, so avoiding them is the best they can do. Number 3, one day outside the black circle is 1 year inside, so they can't expect help from the outside world. Number 4, the food is not a problem in the hole, because the body is not affected by time outside the hole, so they can go years without eating. Skipping 1 day of meals equals about only 4 minutes here. In the end, Sohan asked them to understand their surroundings properly. He asked them to analyze and observe things as if they're studying if they want to survive. The final thing that Sohan uncle told him is that the exit is not on top, but at the bottom of the black hole. After that, everyone started telling each their plan in order to escape and survive. After some planning, Young-woo decided to explain everything. As everyone already knew, that area outside the classroom is a complete maze, so getting lost is very easy. To get out of here, they need an organized approach. So the plan they all come up with is creating a map. According to Young-woo, to stay safe, they'll form teams of 4, and during breaks, they'll draw maps to prevent getting lost. When class time approaches, they return to the classroom, and by merging all the maps together, they'll eventually find an exit. Hearing the plan, John spoke up asking Young-woo if he's sure this'll work. As Young-woo said that wandering out during class time will cause them to get killed by monsters, that means they can only move through the hallway during a 10-minute break. With that little time, they'll barely have enough time to return to the classroom, let alone explore. He asked him if he had even considered this problem. Hearing all that, the girl named Jun said that they don't have to worry about that. She said that they entered the hole during the 5th period class time. That's also when the monsters first appeared. If they assume that time inside the black home follows class time exactly, then not long after the first bell rang. That signaled the start of break time. During the break, they mourned the teacher. Sohan explained the black circle, and they experienced many other things. Then after all that, the second bell rang. If they arrange everything in chronological order, it'll make break time longer than actual studying time. Suddenly, the period bell rang again. This means that class time is only 10 minutes while the break time is 50 minutes. Even with the longer breaks, time is still a problem, because later when exploring distance will increase, returning to the classroom will become difficult. At that point, they have to either use another safe classroom that they'll discover eventually as a base, or change the place so that they meet at longer intervals instead of every class time. With this, they decided to wrap up their discussion. Young-woo said that it's still too early to head out, so they'll depart during the next break. Until then, he asked them that they should make thorough preparations. Time remaining until departure is 58 minutes and 30 seconds. Before going outside the classroom, they prepared thoroughly. They prepared weapons to fight against the monsters if necessary. Portable flashlight, also timer for checking time. These both things will be in their phone. Even though their school is in black hole, they can still charge their phone. Lastly, they have to form teams. Group A is Dohyun, Sean, Choi, and Yang. Group B is Young-woo, Sujene, Dohyun, Nari. Group C consists of Sohan, Jun, Sanji, Miji. Meanwhile, Jun is standing near the wall talking to his friend. He still can't believe in monsters and other strange things, even though he has seen them with his own eyes. This is Group D, Hyunjun, Yarum, Jun, Seo-jong. After some time, it's finally their time to go outside. This boy has decided to be the first one to go outside. Even though he was really scared, he finally showed courage and put his feet outside. With that, he was able to go outside without dying. After some time, their first departure ended, and now it's class time. Young-woo explained that when he went outside earlier to check briefly, he found 2 paths at each end of the hallway. There were a total of 4 forks. Since they're divided into 4 groups, each group takes 1 path and explores. Then, Youngwoo explained the map-making plan again, and now it's time for their actual first departure. With that, all the students went out to explore. Everyone is scared and wants to go to their mom and dad, but they have to take the risk if they want to survive. Before separating, Youngwoo was telling them to make sure to return to class before break ends. But Jin still was not taking the situation seriously. He ignored Youngwoo and decided to move on with his team. Like this, everyone went their separate ways. Group, it was moving together, sticking close to each other. The place is so dark that even with life, the visibility is short. Choi is really scared and is almost crying. He said that he'd rather die than explore this dark place. But Yang tells him that if they want to go home, they have to explore. She asked him that if he doesn't want to explore, he can go back to the classroom. But he decided to stick together. Meanwhile, Dohyun was telling Sian to mark anything that she finds unusual on the map. After some walking, they finally see a light and reached a new fork in the road. They are thankful because these two paths actually have lights. Sian decided to look around more carefully because getting lost at a fork is really easy. Right then, Yang spots a creepy picture of a student on the wall. Immediately, she informed everyone about that picture. Meanwhile, group B have also spotted a picture of a student on the wall. After checking it, Nari tells Youngwoo that this isn't a problem. While she was checking that image, Youngwoo spotted another. This picture looks like a student who is running from some dangerous thing. Youngwoo looked around and saw that there are pictures of different students everywhere. Then, Youngwoo checked his timer and told his team that it's time to go back even though there's still 38 minutes left. Meanwhile, Group A has decided to go and check the picture on the wall. Choi is trying to stop them, but they don't listen to him. It's the same situation as Group B. When Dohyun saw the path, it was completely filled with pictures everywhere. He suddenly spotted a pen on the ground. When he saw that, he remembered that it's the same mechanical pen that he had. This mechanical pen was not Dohyun's, but it was his friend's named Jaiwoo. Meanwhile, Group B has decided to go back because they have decided to prepare more before going forward. When Nari asked for the reason, Youngwoo said that he wants to listen to other groups about the situation because these scribbles give him a bad feeling. He thought that it might be a monster's doing. On the other hand, Dohyun is shocked to see Jaiwoo's picture on the wall, and the picture is not normal, but very creepy, like blood is coming out of Jaiwoo's eyes, and he is looking really scared. But Dohyun didn't panic. He just said that it's drawing and decided to move on. In this hallway, there are 5 visible paths, and the path from where they came from makes it 6. Sian decided to properly update her map if they don't want to get lost in this maze. When Yang asked them which way they should go, Dohyun said that they should follow the drawings. The reason why Dohyun asked his team to follow the drawing, because there's a chance they might find Jaiwoo at the end. Now, just Jaiwoo, there's a chance they might find other survivors on the way. They still have 35 minutes, so there's a chance they might find them. After some walking, they finally learned something. They learned that every drawing has a mirrored counterpart nearby, and all the drawings they've seen until now are of Class 2 students. Seeing the situation, Choi started getting worried and asked them that they should go back, because there's no way these drawings just appeared for no reason. If they keep following them, according to Choi, something bad might happen to them. In the end, even though Dohyun wanted to keep going in hope of finding Jaiwoo, he just couldn't take unnecessary risks and decided to take his team back. When they were about to go back, they heard a voice asking if someone's there. That unknown person was asking for help. Choi immediately thought that it's a monster and decided to run in panic. Choi is so scared that he's not thinking about getting lost. He's just running. Sian said that if he kept on running, he might get lost in this maze. So, Dohyun asked Yang to follow Choi, while he and Sian will explore. Yang didn't object to his orders. She gave a broom to Dohyun and went behind Choi. At this point, Dohyun is also getting scared because anything can happen to them. He gave a mobile light to Sian and told her to stay put while he'll go ahead alone and check the situation. He slowly moved to the corner of a new path, and there he saw a boy on the ground asking for help. When he went toward the boy, he saw something horrifying. He saw that half of the boy's body had turned into a drawing. Only his upper half was fine. The boy grabbed Dohyun's legs and said that there's a monster that turned people into drawing. Hearing that, Dohyun got really shocked because earlier he saw Jaiwoo's drawing, which means Jaiwoo is already dead. While he was stuck at a place because of the shock, a monster hand slammed onto the boy and turned it into a drawing. But for some reason, the monster didn't turn Dohyun into a drawing and went into hiding again. In the meantime, Group was exploring their own route. While they didn't see any drawings on the wall, their path was a mess. Until now, these students were thinking that no monster would hunt them during break, but Sohan destroyed their easiness by telling the monsters also roam around during breaks. He explained that the first monster that they encountered had a rule that no one should roam around during class time. But this rule only applied to that monster. There might be other monsters with different rules. Until now, they have only figured out the strategy of one monster. So Sohan advised them to be careful. Meanwhile, Dohian finally broke out of his mental shock, and the first thing he saw was a monster hand folding a wall and going into hiding. Until now, Dohian was also thinking that his team would not get hunted by monsters during breaks, but he just saw one in front of him. While Dohian was completely scared with whole body frozen, he remembered Sohan advising everyone to observe and analyze the situation before taking any action. So, Dohian started thinking about why the monster went back into the wall without killing him. He has to do something quickly in order to survive and also make sure to keep his teammates safe. After considering and analyzing everything that happened to him and the things that he saw so far, he came to a conclusion. He threw a broom to the other side while praying for his prediction to be correct. Suddenly, the monster started moving and went toward the broom. With that, Dohian concludes that this monster can't see and only follows the sound. Dohian came to this conclusion by remembering and using what he experiences so far. At first, he didn't think that sound is the answer because previously, Choi let out a scream and they also made sounds here and there, but that monster didn't attack them. While analyzing that, he remembered that the student who turned in a drawing in front of him was saying that the monster is not around because it went toward other students to turn them into drawing. This means that earlier, the monster was far away because of which it wasn't able to hear Choi scream. But then it came back after hearing the voice of the student who had just turned into a drawing. With all this, he concluded that this monster only follows the sounds. He went back to Sujene and immediately asked her to not make a sound. While she started asking questions, he just told her that he will explain everything later and asked to not make any sound. They were slowly walking back with Dohian praying in his mind for the monster to not follow them. But suddenly, Sujene accidentally let out a scream after getting startled by seeing a broom on the ground. Because of this, the monster came back to hunt them. They sprint away from the monster at full speed, but the monster is almost caught up to them. When they were about to turn into a drawing, Dohian suddenly got an idea. He played a notification sound on his mobile and threw it toward the monster. This caused the Monayer to stop and turn the mobile into a drawing. Because of Dohian's plan, they both barely survived by an inch. After eliminating the source of sound, monsters no longer attacked them. After that, using Sujene's phone as a flashlight, they followed the map to go back to the classroom. Meanwhile, Yang is sitting with Choi, who has run away before. Yang was calling Choi a coward and was asking if he's going to run away again after getting scared. Hearing that, Choi apologized to Yang for running and told her that he'll never run away again. At that moment, both Dohian and Sujene also caught up to them. But when Yang saw both of them scared, she asked them what happened to them. Dohian didn't answer and just started crying while touching Jaiwoo's drawing. Because now it's confirmed that Jaiwoo is dead, they can't do anything. As Choi was also a part of their friend group, he also started crying after realizing what happened. In the end, they reached the classroom 5 minutes before class started. But the situation in the class is also very grim and sad. It turns out Group D has left one of their members named Yarum behind in the hallway. Group D member Jun is just smiling and completely careless, and behind him Hyun is standing showing no emotion. Right then, Team B members Nari and Taehyun came back tired. They went out to find Yarum, but they found her nowhere. In the end, Youngwoo said that they'll look for her in the next break and just hoped that she had found another classroom to stay in. When Yang asked why she didn't come back, Team D member Seo Jong points at John and called him a murderer. She said that he also tried to kill her and demanded that they kick out John and Hyun immediately. Hearing that, Sujene, who already hates John, also started talking, saying that she already knew that John will do something. She said that if Yarum didn't come back, John will be marked as a murderer. Seeing her blabbering, John was about to step up to shut her up, but before him, Hyun went forward and asked her to stop talking nonsense. In the end, they decided to explain what happened. Team D didn't do anything unusual. John just talked bad about Youngwoo and some other classmates while exploring around. But the annoying part was Yarum never stopped crying. To stop her crying, John said that if she kept on crying, monsters would come and kill them. Hearing that, even though she lowered her crying voice, but she still kept on crying calling for the teacher. So John didn't bother talking to her, and kept on moving forward. It turns out when their teacher died, Yarum was sitting on the first row and she saw the monster with her own eyes. That's why she's really scared and crying. But John just laughed at her and didn't believe that there really was a monster. After some walking, John didn't do anything unusual and just kept on exploring and looking around. But Yarum crying didn't stop, and this was making him really annoyed. Right then, they spotted a restroom. John asked her to go in and wash her mouth, but she refused to enter, saying there might be a monster inside. So to make sure she stays safe, John opens the door with the broom that he's holding. He entered the restroom and checked all the doors one by one. In the end, they spotted nothing unusual, but the one thing they missed is the mirror. Inside the mirror, there are all 4 Team D members visible even though no one is standing in front of the mirror. And they're looking very creepy and scary. After checking everything, they left Yarum alone inside the restroom and went out. John asked her to wash herself properly and then come out. When they were standing outside the restroom, John asked Sohan why she was outside. As she is Yarum's friend, she should at least stay with her to comfort her. But Sohan didn't listen and just said that they are not close. John tries to tell her that in times like this, they shouldn't care if they are friends or not and just help each other. But he wasn't able to act like a good boy and just stop advising her. Meanwhile, inside the restroom, Yarum put out her glasses and washed her face. While washing, she saw her creepy self inside the mirror. She wasn't able to see properly because she wasn't wearing glasses. But when she wore the glasses, the Yarum inside the mirror dragged her inside. It turns out that John and his team left standing guard in the restroom and went on exploring. After some time, when they returned, John called for Yarum to come out as she's inside for more than 10 minutes. When Yarum came out, she had a creepy smile on her face and was also looking different. But until now, no one has noticed that Yarum has changed. When John put her hand on her shoulder to ask her what she was doing inside for 10 minutes, she started saying random words. Seeing that, Dohyun dragged John back without wasting a moment. Then, he pointed the broom at Yarum and asked her who she was. Without answer, Yarum started chasing them with a creepy smile on her face. So to protect themselves, John hit her with a broom. But that didn't do anything. Yarum got up again without taking out her creepy smile and immediately started chasing them. After some running, something weird happened. Yarum suddenly was blocked by an invisible wall. It turns out that real Yarum is still inside the restroom on the other side of the mirror. When the fake Yarum moved outside the restroom and followed them, the real Yarum also moved inside the restroom. And when the real Yarum hit the wall, the fake Yarum was also stopped by a wall. But the fake Yarum didn't care. She kept on hitting the wall again and again, while the real Yarum was also forced to smash her head into the real wall. This causes her to bleed heavily, which most likely killed her. Even as they went down the stair to come back to the classroom, they kept on hearing the sound of someone banging their head against the wall. With that, they arrived at the class, and this also concludes their story of what happened to Yarum. Dohyun said that even if they wanted to bring her back, they couldn't do it. And Dohyun is sure that if anyone other than them would have been in that situation, they'd have done the same. I think Sujene is a really dumb girl. Even after hearing the whole story, she still called them murderers for leaving Yarum behind just because she acted strangely. Even John is getting pissed. He asked her if her ears are not working properly, or she wasn't focusing on listening to their story. He asked her how they could bring someone who was banging their head into thin air. Then, Dohyun gave them one more piece of information. He said that while Yarum was outside the restroom acting strangely, there was another Yarum inside the restroom as he heard voices coming from the room. It turns out that no one is believing Group D's explanation because they still think that monster will not find them during break. So, Dohian and Sohan explained everything about the monster that they encountered. With this new information and Dohyun's story, it is highly likely that they are not lying and didn't abandon Yarum on purpose. After hearing everything, Youngwoo faced Seojong and asked her why. She said John tried to kill her. And just listen to her testimony. She said that John also asked her to stay in the restroom with Yarum. This is it. This was her testimony. Even though she also knows that at that moment, they didn't know about the mirror monster or anything like that. She still thinks that John did that to kill her like Yarum. Hearing her testimony, even Youngwoo realized that she is just behaving like a pig that she is, and told her that according to her story, he didn't do it intentionally. After that, the break time arrived again, and this time only some students went out to check the restroom. But when they arrived there, it was locked. Because of that, the class's atmosphere reverted back into fear and hopelessness. Everyone thought that they can't even go out safely during breaks, and concluded that they can't survive. But they have to do something in order to even have a chance of surviving. Hyunjun was really shocked and confused to see that the door of the restroom is locked. He tried to open it using force, But that also didn't work. Seeing the scene, Sujene accuses them of hiding something. She said that he intentionally led them to some weird paths. Hearing her, Hyunjun got really angry and asked her to shut her mouth if she didn't want to get it distorted. They were about to start the fight, but Dohyun stopped them, reminding them that they're here to find Yarum, not to fight. He asked Hyunjun if this is really the right place, and Hyunjun answered yes. He said that next time they'll bring Seojong with them to confirm it. Hearing that, Dohyun looked toward Jongwo and asked him what they should do now. They checked the time and saw that there's still 40 minutes left until the break ends, so Dohyun suggested that they should try to find another route. Everyone agrees, and they spend the rest of their time mapping different routes. As they walked, Jongwoo remembered John suggesting to them that they should just kill the monster if it attacked them. But at that time, Jongwoo refused to go with the suggestion and gave his own idea, that was map making. Remembering that, he wondered if things would have gone differently if he had gone with John's idea. Right then, Dohyun appeared beside and asked him if he's blaming himself for what happened to Yarum. Asking that, he reminds Jongwoo that if it wasn't for his idea, half of them would have already died in the hallway from start. Dohyun asked him to stay positive. He assumes that Yarum locked the door herself and went to different routes. Before the break ended, Dohyun and others came back to the classroom and told them everything. When Jongwoo revealed that the door was locked, John got really shocked and confused. Some students started blaming him and Hyunjun for leading them to different routes to hide something. All this made John really mad. He didn't even do anything, but everyone is blaming him and Hyunjun for losing Yarum. While the students were making assumptions, Jun from Group C came to Jongwoo and told him that she had thought of something. She explained her theory to Jongwoo and some others. She said that the first monster that they encountered acted according to the school rule, no walking around during class. And the monster group they met was one that attacked based on sound. Jongwoo heard that and asked her why it matters. Jun questioned if that monster was really just following the sound. If so, what twisted it with the art textbook? She asked him if there's really something at school that just follows sound. She wrote something in her notebook and showed it to everyone. The monster that follows the sound has the rule, silence in the hallway. If they stay quiet in the hallway, that monster is most likely not going to follow them. Seeing the pattern, the other rules have also most likely become a monster. Jun said that there are lots of school rules, but the one they really need to pay attention to right now is the rule that says no entering other classes. Saying that, she asked Jongwoo if he understood what she's trying to say. Jongwoo thought that no entry to other classrooms is a variable. When they only considered the Korean monster, they thought they just had to follow the class rules during class time. But now there's an additional factor to consider. If Jun's hypothesis is correct, the key point of the map-making plan, the movement between strongholds, becomes impossible. Going down to the lowest floor within 50 minutes is impossible. So if they can't enter other classrooms, the possibility of escape becomes zero. Jongwoo thought that when Sohan first said that all the rules would be twisted, this should have been something thought about. He called himself too complacent, thinking he made a major mistake. He doesn't even want to imagine what would have happened if they had entered another classroom without knowing this. He thought that he almost got everyone in danger. He blames himself for losing Yarum. He thought she was just following his map-making plan and eventually fell behind. Right then, Dohian walked right beside him and said that it doesn't seem like all the rules have turned into monsters. He mentions that they ran really hard in the hallway. According to the rules, they're not supposed to run in the hallway. Saying that, he points toward John, who is smoking cigarettes. Of course, John is breaking the rule at this moment, but no monster came to attack them. As soon as Jun saw that, she realized that her assumption was too far ahead. Suddenly, Jongwoo remembers Dohian telling him that when Choi made noise, the monster wasn't nearby, so they were able to outrun it. Remembering that, Jongwoo thought of something. He decided to take this conversation a step further. He questioned whether some of the rules turned into monsters, or did most of the rules turn into monsters, and asked if there's a reason why breaking doesn't cause problems. Sohan answered that the first one seems more plausible. Only some of the rules turn into monsters, because until now, they have broken many rules. Jongwoo agreed and said that when they entered the black hole, the break time and class time got swapped. So the chances are that the rules that had to be followed no matter where you were in the school have changed to only apply near the monsters. Jongwoo said that if the monster that killed the teacher was near them, it would have tricked them into thinking they had to follow the rules no matter where they were. Then, Jongwoo said that even if this assumption is correct, there are still many variables to consider. But at least, the restriction that they always have to follow the rules disappears. And if they get out of here, or at least if they can figure out that the Korean language monster isn't nearby, they should be able to move during class time. Jongwoo's hypothesis was based on only one solid sample, so they couldn't be certain. Even if it were true, there were still many variables to consider. However, what the class needed was the courage to step outside the classroom again. Jongwoo's hypothesis, which could slightly lower the hellish difficulty of escaping, sparked new courage in the students' dried-out hearts. The gloomy mood, where they thought they'd never leave the classroom again, thanks to Jongwoo's words, they began to regain their spirit. Of course, the fact that there was little hope of being rescued, even inside the classroom, also played a role. And so, they decided to go out of the classroom again, starting from the next break time. 20 minutes and 38 seconds remaining until departure. Everyone in the classroom accepted that Yarum decided to believe that the locked door meant the survivors from other classes had joined together, because otherwise, the endless sorrow would be too much to bear. At this moment, Nari from Group B made up her mind to stay strong. She said that now she'll only think of escaping. Seeing her filled with energy, Dohyun tells her that she doesn't have to go that far. Hearing that, Nari hit Dohyun's broken arm and asked him what he means by not going too far. Suddenly, Dohyun's expression changed, and he said that he has lost all feeling in his arm. At the same time, other groups have also made up their minds to stay strong. After some time, the bells rang, and all the students decided to go out. As they left, we learned that there was a change in the groups. Seojong took the place of Sohan from Group A, and Sohan joined Group D. They did it because Seojong was shouting, refusing to go out with Group D, Hyunjun, and John. She is worried that they might leave her behind like they left behind Yarum. Bro, this fat girl is literally a pig. I think she is just here to ruin our moods. Mark my words, she will become the biggest obstacle for these students. As they were walking, Dohian heard that Seoyeon was laughing with a creepy face, but he just ignored her, hoping for nothing bad to happen. Then, we learned that due to the series of incidents, everyone's caution had reached its peak. Through vigilance, talking was minimized. When possible, they typed on phones. If any strange sign appeared, they immediately returned to the classroom. By prioritizing safety, everyone was able to survive. Third exploration begins. Nothing had changed from the second exploration's principles. This time as well, everyone returned safely. Fourth and fifth, the map-making plan was progressing smoothly. No, it only seemed to be progressing smoothly. As caution increased, the pace of progress slowed. At that slower pace, the distance students could cover was very limited. Unfortunately, there were no other classrooms with that range, so they had to explore faster and more boldly with each departure. Since it was directly tied to their survival, it was hard to speak up. And so, amid everyone's anxiety, the seventh exploration began. Suddenly, a loud shout was heard from a student of some other class. At the same time, a student was standing in the middle of the hallway, shaking. In front of him, a strange monster appeared. Seeing that monster, the student started running away. Suddenly, the student was pulled toward the monster, and everything went silent. Before the seventh exploration started, Sanji looked outside the window and cried out that they're still at square one even after exploring for hours. He said that they can't go on like this. They should hurry. Hearing that, Miji suddenly appeared behind him and said the same thing, which scared Sanji. He asked her to not scare her like this. He's already feeling so tense. Miji mentions that there's no one who's not feeling tense. She said that she's so exhausted, she could die. Sanji saw her and asked her to not whine like this. Suddenly, he remembered that Miji was also whining earlier. As Sanji started mimicking her, she tried to hit her, but Sanji dodged her. Right then, Sujene walked past Sanji. He called her from behind to tell her something, but he couldn't say what he wanted to. So he quickly changed the topic to mop that she was holding. It turns out that Sanji wanted to confess his feelings to her, but he couldn't. With that, the seventh exploration started. After they left, Sanji suggested that they should stop communication through phone typing because it's too much of a communication barrier. He said that there's no monster on their side like the Group A said. Thinking that the monster didn't appear in front of them even after 6 rounds, they decided to remove one safety measure, which was communication through phone typing. Another safety measure of theirs is that they will throw an object after walking some distance to check for wall-folding monsters. Everyone agreed with the suggestion and started moving forward at a fast pace. 7th exploration. It sounds like a lot just from the number. 6 explorations completed, including class time, about 6 hours. 2 hours spent before even starting the first exploration. plus 2 more hours to go find Yarum and rest during the first period. It's already been 10 hours since they fell into the black circle. The extreme caution they had moved with was already 5 hours ago. Maintaining a hyper-alert start for 5 straight hours was like torturing the body. Increased heart rate, blood vessel constriction causing high blood pressure, reduced blood flow to the brain causing dizziness and headaches, repeated with every exploration. The armor of caution, so carefully maintained, was slowly falling apart, worn down by fatigue and lack of results. After walking for some time, Group C was really tired. Even if they walked faster than usual, they just saw endless hallways. After resting for a minute, they decided to go back to the classroom. But as they started walking, Sanji felt something from behind. He walked back again to check what he just felt. After reaching a split way, he asked Sohan to give him a water bottle through text message. Receiving the bottle, Sanji threw it to the dark side, and after seeing no reaction, they decided to move forward. While walking, they noticed that this place was darker than other routes. After some steps, they found the water bottle that they just threw, but it had fallen on some strange liquid. As Sanji and Miji were inspecting the bottle, Sohan moved the flashlight toward the rooftop. And as the light hit the roof, Sohan saw something really creepy. He saw that the whole roof is filled with the faces and bodies of different students. Before Sohan could tell anyone about that, Sanji noticed something. In front, Sanji noticed a classroom door. Miji also checked it and immediately called Sohan and Jun. Jun didn't immediately follow them because Sohan suggested that they should head back. But Miji didn't listen to them and decided to check at least once. She threw the water bottle, and after seeing no reaction, she and Sanji moved forward. But as soon as they took a turn, they saw a monster with a flask head standing in front of them. At this moment, they have 27 minutes left until class time. It was a series of misfortunes. A body and mind worn out from reckless exploration. Monsters they've never seen directly for 10 hours, and that gave rise to growing boldness. Extremely limited visibility in the dark hallway. Checking for safety within known data. In reality, it wasn't much help. As they both saw the flask monster, they couldn't move an inch. At the same time, Jun asked Sohan that they should also follow them. Hearing her, Sohan pointed the light to the roof and asked Jun to see that and decide on her own. She looked up and saw the scared and terrified face of other students made out of smoke. Everyone reacts differently when facing fear. Some people stay calm, assess the situation, and act. Some freeze completely, both body and mind, unable to think. Others act before they even think. Group C had made several plans to respond in case of encountering a monster. But when Sanji saw a monster for the first time, he used the reflexes developed through training and immediately sprang into action. He threw the mop that he was holding toward the monster and started running away. The monster easily deflected the mop and then raised his arm towards Sanji. Suddenly, Sanji stopped moving and got pushed toward the monster. He tried to grab Miji, but that didn't help. Seeing the scene, Miji let out a loud shout that was heard by Sohan and Jun. When Jun took a step forward to go and see what happened, Sohan stopped her and reminded her that it's dangerous. He mentions that she's dumber than he thought. He asked her to give him the map because he has decided to go back. Jun looked at him for a moment and then ran off after giving him the map. Meanwhile, Sanji floated toward the monster and got pushed into the flask entrance. He tried to break the flask, but it didn't work. Inside the flask, the fire was burning, and that fire slowly melted Sanji and turned him into a liquid. Next, the head of Sanji came out from the monster's arm and floated toward the roof like smoke. The liquid that was made fell to the ground from the other arm of the monster. Miji was really scared and couldn't move. Right then, she heard a whisper from Jun and moved her head. She tried to tell Jun everything that happened, but she was so scared that she couldn't talk properly. Because she can't talk, Jun asked Miji to show one finger if yes and show 2 fingers if no. Telling her that, she asked Miji if the monster was still in front of her. Miji showed 1 finger, which means yes. Then, Jun asked her if the monster was moving, and she showed 2 fingers. Next, she asked her if it's attacking. Miji showed 1 finger in response. Seeing that, Jun asked her if Sanji was okay. This time Miji showed 1 finger. This doesn't mean yes, but she's pointing toward the roof. As Jun moved her head to see what's on the roof, Sohan appeared beside her and blocked her view. Sohan tells Miji to not sit there like an idiot. He asked her to remember the school rules if she wants to survive. Miji was about to tell him about the monster, but Sohan stopped and angrily asked her to get up. Miji slowly got up holding the wall, and immediately after she did that, the monster took a step forward. Seeing that, Miji got really scared and started crying. She told Jun and Sohan that the monster had started moving. Sohan didn't care about that and asked her to remember the school rules. When Miji couldn't remember the school rules because she's really scared, Jun advised her to think about what Sanji did that made the monster attack him. She tried to remember, but her mind went black. Suddenly, Sohan grabbed Jun's hand and left the place. He asked Jun to forget about Miji. They themselves are short on time. As he said that, Jun forcefully freed her hand, and while crying, she asked Sohan to go back alone. She said that Miji is someone they can still save. Hearing that, Sohan checked the time and saw that there's only 15 minutes left. Then, Sohan came back to Miji with a dark expression and told her that they can't do anything to save her. She has to figure out what to do herself. He asked her to recall the rule that Sanji broke if she wanted to survive. Immediately, Miji used her brain to remember what Sanji did. She noticed a mop on the floor and tried to remember what Sungjar did after throwing that mop. She finally remembered that Sanji tried to run away. She told Sohan and Jun that after Sanji started running, the monster immediately attacked him. Hearing that, they assumed that running must be forbidden in the hallway. Without taking any action, they asked Miji to remember if there's something else. Miji answered no and noticed that the monster had come really close to her. Now, they don't have time to think further. So Sohan asked her to start walking toward them slowly. As Miji slowly walked toward them, nothing happened for a few steps, but then suddenly, Miji's expressions changed. It turns out that the rule wasn't related to running, but it was related to science experiments. Do not play or leave your seat during experiments. Seeing Miji getting pushed away, Jun immediately ran to grab her hand. At the same time, Group A was walking in the hallway. Until now, nothing special happened during this exploration. While he was thinking if they should go back, Wangyun slipped on the floor. Luckily, he didn't get hurt and asked others if this slope was always here. Dohyun checked the slope and mentioned that this slope wasn't here before. They decided to mark this location on the map and decided to head back. Meanwhile, something was bigger happening in the classroom. After they returned, they saw that both Group C and D hadn't returned to the classroom. John from Group D opened a cigarette box in the hallway, but because there wasn't any in it, he threw it away. Seeing that, Sujene asks him why he's throwing trash and reminds him that it's a school's rule violation. She asks him to pick up the trash and tells him that if there had been a related monster, they'd all be dead already. Hearing that, John picked up the trash, saying he was about to pick it up even if she hadn't told him. After picking it up, John told her to never mention things like dying or dead in front of him because it puts him in a terrible mood. Sujene heard that and wondered why he's suddenly acting like that. She then bent down to pick up the trash because John didn't pick it up properly. Doing that, she quickly catched up with the two and went their own way without noticing a voice that came from the dark. In the last part, I mistakenly said Group C and D when it was actually Group B and C who hadn't returned. In the present, only Group A and D are in the classroom. As Dohyun got really worried seeing the situation, C guessed that maybe both groups found different classrooms. She said that his break was too short, so there's a chance both groups stayed in different classrooms and Group A and D came back. Dohyun considered Sanji's personality and thought that he might have done that. But Group B, given Jungwoo's character, it doesn't seem like they couldn't calculate time. Dohyun quickly dispelled that thought and decided to believe that Group B and C were in another classroom. Suddenly, Choi fell on his knees with a face full of fear. He said that the apocalyptic fear scenario has begun. He thinks that both groups couldn't enter the classrooms simultaneously and asks if this is a coincidence. He answered himself saying no, it's a monster. He said that both groups were killed by the same monster. Seeing him whining made Cian angry. He went ahead and grabbed him from the collar, calling him annoying. He asked him if he should kill him if he wants to die so badly. At that moment, Dohyun appeared between them and grabbed his arm, asking John to stop. Seeing that, John asked Dohyun to move his hand. In response, Dohyun asked him the same thing, move your hands. Right then, a pig started talking. She pointed at John and called him a murderer. She called him that because how casually John said the word kill just now. She accuses him of trying to kill her. Hearing that, John reminded her that she has no one to protect her now. He tells her that the situation is different from before. Saying that, he decided to deal with her first, which scared the pig out of her. At that moment, they heard a loud screech which caught all of their attention. Hyunjun slid the table on the ground, which produced that screech. After everyone went silent, he sat on his seat and told them to be quiet because he's going to sleep. As Hyungjin said that, John left Choi's collar. With that, they decided to wait until other groups return. 50 minutes ago, the start of the 7th exploration. Nari stretched her arm, and Group B began their exploration. Group B, true to Youngwoo who stressed safety to friends, proceeded more cautiously than any other team. In addition to existing school rules, they organized easily forgotten regulations by location, shared with group members, and reviewed each class period. If anomalies appear, stop immediately and return to the classroom. They try not to give any opening at all. Youngwoo, while holding the map, thought that lengthy expedition time is no problem. He believes that slow by steady progress will definitely lead them to other classrooms. He is determined to return alive and find Yarum too. 40 minutes until class. Dohyun and others were standing in front of really weird-looking stairs that were continuously bulging. As Nari came closer to the stairs, she quickly backed out because they were really hot. Jongwoo looked at the situation and thought that the stair anomaly was bulging strangely in scorching heat. He marked this path on a map, calling it dangerous and difficult. They are now in the territory of the monster who punishes students making noise in the hallway. Thankfully, everyone is following the rules and staying quiet. Now, they need to figure out how to deal with the monster. Youngwoo determines the situation by remembering what Dohyun told him. He told Youngwoo that the monster on the wall corner where it hid, there was something like the hole in a sketchbook spring. And as Dohyun described, the wall is bulging out and has holes like in a sketchbook spring. Youngwoo thought that they're fortunate because they encountered a monster with known rules. But now the problem is that the monster is blocking their escape route. No matter the method, they have to pass underneath it. One way is to throw a broom to lure it away, and there's also the method of quietly walking past one at a time. As he was thinking which one would be safe, a football appeared in the distance. The football was really creepy. It had a mouth, nose, and black eyes. It also had a lot of stitches on it. The ball opened its mouth and shouted loudly, "My ball." Because it made a sound, the wall monster heard it and a big hand appeared from the wall behind Youngwoo. They immediately started running in the direction of the ball, because that's the only way they can run to. 30 minutes until class. At the end of the hallway, they saw a room. Dohyun entered the room first, and behind him, Sujene entered. As she entered, Dohyun ran toward the room and pushed up the handle. They started closing the door slowly after Nari entered. And as Youngwoo entered the room, they immediately closed it. Right after the door closed, a powerful force hit the door, causing both Dohyun and Sanji to fall on their back. Luckily, the door stayed closed even after that powerful impact. They can say that they're safe for now. Youngwoo heard the noise gradually fading away and was relieved a little. He couldn't let his guard down because this place also looks really dangerous. There are a lot of high jump mats in front of them. When they gathered together, Dohyun looked at his other arm, and it was completely red. His arm got injured when that powerful force hit the door and threw him backward. On the other hand, Sujene, who was with him, is also injured. Her leg took a hit, and now she can't walk properly. Now she'll have to use a support to properly move around, and Taeyun's one arm was broken, and the second arm just got injured. While they were injured, Nari wasn't in good condition either. Seeing the situation, Youngwoo thought that they needed to head back quickly. He tried to open the door, but for some reason, it was locked. Dohyun kicked the door with full force, but it didn't even budge. It turns out that when that wall monster hit the door, it turned into a painting. With it, the football monster also turned into a painting. Seeing that the door was not moving even a little, Youngwoo was really worried and scared. He thought that if the door's blocked, they would have to find another exit, which means they need to head that way. Even if they find an exit, the question is, can they return to the classroom? What if a different exit leads to somewhere unfamiliar? Time is tight, and there's a good chance the bell will ring before they get back. If that happens, there's a chance the literature book monster will come. He wondered what they could do in this situation. What's the best choice now? At that moment, Dohyun called his name, taking him out of his thoughts. He realized that Youngwoo was worrying a lot, so he asked him to think positively. He said that everyone's safe, and they've lost the monster. And even if more soccer ball monsters come from a gym, Dohyun said that they seem beatable. Hearing about the soccer ball monster, Youngwoo thought that other than making loud noises, it didn't attack when they got close. It didn't seem that dangerous, but there's one thing that's bothering him. While running, he saw tears coming out of the soccer ball's eyes and wondered what the tears meant. Thinking all that, he wondered if he's overthinking it and decided to forget about it for now. With that, they started walking around, trying to find another exit. But no matter how much they walked, they just sought jumping mats. Now only 20 minutes left until class time. After some walking, they saw a really disturbing scene. Tens of students are thrown into a carriage, and each of them is missing their head. Youngwoo and Taehyun were really shocked and horrified after seeing that. Taehyun couldn't hold on and went to throw up on the side. Youngwoo thought that this doesn't look like something that the soccer ball monster can do. He wondered if there's another monster in the gym. At that moment, Nari and Seonjin, who were standing at a little distance, asked what happened. Jongwoo quickly asked them to not come forward. While he was about to explain the situation to them, a dark figure, with a whistle in its mouth, was staring at them. Suddenly, Jongwoo's expression changed when he heard the sound of a whistle. He turned the flashlight toward the roof, thinking, a bad feeling proves right like always. He thought that's why he was being extremely cautious. On top of jumping mats, someone is sitting, whistling the whistle. The person has really big eyes and a creepy face. Suddenly, the monster turned out and picked up something. He picked up a student's head and threw it in front of Youngwoo and his group. Guys, this is some disturbing scene right here. The student whose head this is still alive. Her face is completely distorted and has American football-like markings on it. She said while crying, "Please save me." As she said that, her head started changing. Slowly, it turned into a soccer ball and said one word, "My ball." Seeing that, Nari was about to cry, saying she can't take this anymore. As she started shaking, Sujene pinched her shoulder, whispering to her to not be scared, and asked her to stay strong. Right then, Youngwoo raised his hand, thinking as long as they stayed calm, they would be okay. He remembered telling other students that if they faced any monster, they shouldn't move. At that moment, the human ball in front of them bounced. Still, Youngwoo didn't move and just stared in front. Suddenly, Taehyun arrived beside him and put the broom in front of his face. It turned out that if hadn't done that, the ball would have smashed Jungwoo's face. Taehyun used a broom to stop the ball, but the impact shook his whole arm. Youngwoo also fell to the ground with a bleeding nose, thinking his plan failed once again. This PE monster attacked even while they were standing still. He wondered what he was even good at. Right then, PE monster played whistle and shouted pass. As he said that, many noises came, saying the same things, "Pass my ball." While they were thinking what to do, the student ball bounced from the ground toward Sujene. But Nari acted quickly, hitting away the ball with a broom. Then, she turned to Youngwoo, asking what they should do now. However, Youngwoo was still in deep thoughts. The ball was about to attack Youngwoo, but Taehyun kicked it away. He then asked Youngwoo to come back to his senses, telling him that he almost got hit. Hearing that, Youngwoo quickly apologized and looked at Taehyun, who was moving forward. He assumed that what's been blocking his path to the answer this whole time was he himself. He said that he should try to fix the thing that has gone wrong instead of blaming himself. Youngwoo observed the ball that was bouncing around. He thought that something's not right. He observed that the balls were only going after him and Sujene. The location is the gym. Even standing still breaks the rule. He remembered the corpses near the lockers and realized something. He shouted, telling others that during gym class, they must wear gym clothes. This rule can't be distorted. Even since the monster blew the whistle, the balls only targeted him and Sujene. This whole time, Nari and Taehyun were wearing a gym uniform, while Youngwoo and Sujene were the only ones with normal uniforms. Taehyun was only wearing the top and asked if that's okay. Youngwoo pointed out that none of them are wearing sneakers, so technically all of them were violating the rules. He assumed that the severity of the rule differs for each monster. For our class, no sound allowed. For the Korean class monster, everyone's included, even the teachers. And for PE class, as long as they're wearing gym clothes, they would be fine. At that moment, the mat suddenly started falling over. From afar, the PE monster stretched his body and then jumped. As he jumped, he pushed away the mats, making them fall over. Seeing that, Taehyun wondered if that monster's planning to crush them instead of following them. Right then, Youngwoo asked him to look ahead, telling him that the path's narrowing. With more and more mats falling over, the path became narrower and narrower. While running, Youngwoo wondered what they should do now. Even if they know the rules, there's no solution in sight. At that moment, Sujene noticed the door and immediately notified the others. But the door didn't help at all because it wasn't opening like the first door. During the time they were trying to open the door, the monster had already thrown all the mats over, trapping them in a corner. Seeing the scene, Youngwoo asked if there's any gym uniforms nearby. Hearing that, one of them shouted, saying they have one. It turned out that Nari had taken out her top. Right then, the monster finally appeared in front of them, holding a ball that was crying. The monster looked down at them while smiling creepily. So, Nari had given her top to one of them, but who she gave it to would be revealed in a moment. 6 minutes until class starts. This is the report of students until. From Group C, Sanji is dead, while the other situation is unknown for now. From Group D, Nimi is dead, while others are fine for now. In Group A and B are perfectly fine yet. When Nari took out her top, they had to choose between Sujene and Youngwoo. Only one of them could wear it. As Youngwoo started sweating, he wondered why he was hesitating. He thought that gym clothes should go to Sujene because her leg's injured. Ethically and practically, that's the right choice. Youngwoo said that he would save everyone. And now he wonders who would save him. He wondered if he's not the part of everyone. Youngwoo went into even deeper thoughts, thinking that he's the class representative, so he should take care of his classmates. But they have already lost someone because of his bad plan. He wondered if he's the one blocking the way to the right answer. Suddenly, his question shifted, asking what exactly is the right answer. Who, when, where, what, how, and why? Who decides what's the right answer? As he was thinking all that, Nari had already moved near Sujene, giving her the jacket. Seeing that, Youngwoo shook, wondering when Nari walked up to Sujene. Right then, Sujene looked at Youngwoo, throwing the jacket at his face. She said that she would dodge all the balls until Youngwoo would find the answer to solve all this, because he's the smartest of them all. At that moment, Youngwoo felt like he's hiding behind the others like they're a shield. Without wasting a second, the monster aimed and threw the ball. Sujene was barely able to dodge the ball, shocked at the speed of it. Youngwoo was really scared and confused, looking around, unable to understand what to do. But the monster didn't care. He threw another ball towards Sujene. Luckily, Dohyun was close enough to stop the ball for her. But the impact of that was really painful for his arm. Hearing Dohyun's painful shouts, Youngwoo fell to the ground. Right then, someone talked, saying they heard something from inside. Someone asked why they were opening the door again after they locked it. Youngwoo looked behind, realizing that someone's standing outside. Finally, the door opened and he saw two students. The woman immediately asked them to run outside. She grabbed Jungwoo's hand, dragging him outside. Quickly, Dohyun and Nari shielded Sujene, asking her to leave quickly. However, as she was about to leave, a ball bit her. Then, the monster pointed at Sujene and whistled. As he did that, Sujene's face started distorting. An eye appeared at her head and her hair started falling. Seeing that, Nari started crying, running towards Sujene. But Sujene pushed her outside. Nari didn't want to leave Sujene behind, but two new students grabbed her, dragging her outside. In the end, the door closed with Sujene left behind. After a while, Youngwoo opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was a crying Nari. Beside him, Sujene was also hitting the wall with his broken arm while crying. Jungwoo's expressions were blank as he remembered Sujene entrusting him with the jacket, asking him to find the solution. Suddenly, he grabbed his own neck tightly, started to choke himself. The new students noticed and stopped him quickly. Bro, this scene was really sad and disturbing. Today is a really bad day for Rain. Anyway, you will not believe that all of this happened in just 1 minute after Nari offered the jacket. This girl is Kim Yeol from class 2-1. While walking with Group B, Yeol said to Youngwoo that he should never try to kill himself again. At that moment, he looked at his phone and saw that it's been 10 minutes since the break ended. He felt little relief because at least one of his observations was correct. That observation was they only have to follow the rules near the monsters. After some walking, they reached class 2-1. There, more students welcomed them. Meanwhile, in class 1-4, everyone was talking about the phenomena they noticed in their exploration. They noticed the walls were warm and wondered if that was related to the monsters. While the others were conversing, Fatty Seojong was standing at a little distance, hearing them. She wondered why they were talking among themselves and ignored her. She thought about a class president who doesn't have her back, classmates who discreetly look down on her, and then John, who outright threatened murder. She called them trash in the classroom. She wondered why she was the only normal out of 16 students in this classroom. Bro, she's the worst thing in this manhwa. She took out a cutter from a locker, thinking she would have to fix this situation alone. After discussing the strange phenomenon, Group A and D decide to use the waiting time to rest and regroup individually. In the end, an hour passed, and none of the groups B and C returned. Because they can't just stay in the classroom forever, they decided to explore on their own. Meanwhile, in the class 1-1, Sohan was sitting, looking at his watch. Beside him, Jun was crying. Miji was also crying, thinking about what happened to Sanji. Some time ago, Miji was also about to be dissolved by that science monster. But Jun ran and grabbed her hand. However, that didn't help because Jun started to get dragged toward the monster with Miji. As she thought that she would die, Sohan grabbed her. Sohan asked Jun to quickly find a way to solve this. Jun looked at the monster, thinking that to solve a problem, identifying the monster is priority number one. The correct answer wasn't don't run in the hallway. Remembering that the monster attacked after observing Miji's actions, she thought that the answer might be some school rule. At that moment, Miji was slowly losing her group. Sohan quickly shouted, asking her to not get trapped by the idea of the hallway, and looked at the monster's appearance. Jun quickly realized that the monster might be related to the science lab, and thought that the science lab had safety guidelines to follow. After some thinking, she realized what rule Miji broke. She broke the one that asked the student to not fool around or leave their seat during experiments. Jun thought that now only finding the solution matters. Suddenly, Jun remembered a point. If an accident occurs, report it loudly to the teacher and get their help. Immediately, Jun shouted, asking the teacher for help. As she said that, the monster stopped dragging Miji and just walked away. While Miji and Jun were in daze, Sohan woke them up, asking them to get inside the classroom quickly. Like this, they reached class 1-1. Group C rested in class 1 because Miji was too dazed to move. Fortunately, she has now come to her senses and started sobbing with her head down. When Jun stopped crying, Sohan mentioned that she was really risky. She guessed that there might be a rule that banned entering another class's room. If that rule really existed, they would have died. Sohan asked her to not act without thinking ever again. Hearing that, Jun asked her if he was going to talk like that. Why did he come back? Sohan couldn't answer, so Jun answered herself. She said that he came back because he was worried for his friends. Even if he acts cold, he's always thinking about his friends. Sohan heard that and called it baseless assumption. Jun still had tears in her eyes as he asked Sohan to never say they would abandon someone. At that moment, Sohan gritted his teeth, saying what happened just now was pure luck. He asked her if she thinks other monsters will also have rules to make up for what they would break. Sohan revealed that the reason he came back is because most rumors say monsters appear when someone's alone. He asked her to not pretend she knows everything. Meanwhile, after entering class 2-1, Group B was hit with the accumulated fatigue and collapsed into sleep. The class was completely empty with only Youngwoo and Sujene. She was strangling Youngwoo, saying because of him she died. Suddenly, her face changed as she reminded him that she even entrusted him with the gym clothes. Youngwoo started shaking, continuously apologizing to her. But Sujene ignored his apology. Her face continued to get distorted. She called him a useless piece of trash, continuously asking him why he left her behind. At that moment, another Youngwoo appeared, wearing the gym jacket. He kicked her and said that he had to leave her behind because he himself wanted to survive. When Sujene disappeared, the second Youngwoo looked at the first one. Second Youngwoo was covered with blood and cried, while saying he had to survive too. He asked the first Youngwoo that he's the most important to himself, so he should stop pretending to be nice. Hearing that, Youngwoo finally woke up from his nightmare. His face was placed, and he was sweating a lot. Right then, the president of this class, named Dohyun, asked him if they could talk for a moment. She called the others as well, and they all sat together in a circle. Dohyun knows what happened to Jungwoo's group, and she wishes she would make things easier for them, but they can't as they're no longer certain this place is safe. Then, they decided to introduce each other. From class 2-1, they have Yul, Jihu, Chanseok, Dohyun. Youngwoo asked her if this is everyone. Dohyun answered yes and said that she would explain what happened to them in the past 10 hours, but in return, Youngwoo would tell them their story as well. He agreed, and the story began. During the 5th period, before the school fell into the black hole, all of them were studying until a student stood up, asking if she could go to the nurse's office. The teacher gave her permission, and Dohyun's sister, Dohian, left the class. After a few minutes, everything outside started to turn dark. After, their class fell into panic. Some students were screaming, and some started crying. The teacher was still calm and asked everyone to calm down as well. But the teacher's effort of calming them was useless until an announcement started, making everyone focus on it. Evacuate the classroom to the sports field, please. The sentence was filled with mistakes, as if the person who said this didn't know how to talk. However, the teacher ignored the mistakes and asked all the students to go to the sports field with discipline. The students immediately stood, leaving the classroom thinking they would be fine. Most of the students left the class, but Dohyun didn't move because she felt something strange. As Yul was about to leave, Dohyun appeared in front of her, stopping her. Yul and the others who were left behind asked her what happened. She said that she felt something strange about this situation. She's sure that they all saw the school falling into the black circle. So how can they evacuate to the sports field? A boy, who will probably die because his name isn't revealed, saying that the school most likely only half caught in the circle. Then, Yujin also decided to leave the classroom. But as she turned around, she saw a student who looked really creepy. His eyes were red, face was stretched, and his fingers were in his ear even though they were bleeding. The boy said the same thing as the announcer, evacuate. Please leave the classroom and evacuate. The same words were repeated by many students who were standing outside in the same condition. At that moment, the announcer spoke again, asking them to evacuate in an orderly fashion. Hearing that, the students that were outside started walking away in a line with fingers in the ears. They kept repeating the words of the announcer as they headed toward the sports field. And so, from the very beginning, only 7 of them remained in the classroom. A few hours later, thinking they needed to check the situation outside, a few of them gathered and left the classroom. Before long, the place they ended up was the gymnasium. After a few more hours passed, when they came out of the classroom again, Yeol heard Jungwoo's group voices. With that, Yujin's story concluded. Then, she asked Jungwoo to tell his story. However, before starting, Jungwoo asked her to tell him what she meant by this place might not be safe either. Meanwhile, Group A was exploring the school. Suddenly, the speaker on the roof turned on and an announcement happened, asking the students to use the emergency stairs to evacuate. Hearing that, Choi assumed that there might be a survivor in the broadcasting room. Dohyun rolled his eyes, saying that out of the blue in a situation like this, an announcement tells them to evacuate using the stairs in front of their eyes. Dohyun asked him to ignore it, saying it's too suspicious. This is the 8th exploration, and there's 40 minutes left until class. Group A and D are in the hallway. Group E is in class 2-1. Group C is in class 1-1. Before starting the 8th exploration, Group A and D decided on 3 objectives. The first is to find a new classroom, second is to find the missing students, and the third is to find the reason for the strange phenomena in the hallways. The objective was what they were trying to do from the start. For the second objective, since they have no clues, they can't just search the area their group was usually in charge of. They had to go to the area the missing group was in charge of. Third objective, finding the cause of the strange phenomena in the hallway. They don't know when and from where it started because the area is too wide. Dohyun flashed on the wall, thinking that beside the area where Choi once slipped, he started to occasionally see walls where the strange phenomenon had occurred. They continued their exploration while drawing the map. Just look at this. Isn't this creepy and scary? Soon, Choi was really tired and said that they should rest a little. Dohyun agreed and decided to rest a little. While resting, Seon talked to Seojong, asked him if she was okay. She asked her this because Seojong fell on the downhill slope earlier. Suddenly, Seojong asked her why she's acting all friendly. Hearing that, Dohyun asked her why she talked to her like that. Seojong heard that and looked down, saying they all are the same. Dohyun asked her what she meant by that. Instead of giving a proper answer, Seojong said something completely out of the conversation. She asked him if he's going to hit her like John. So the thing is, John never hit her, and Dohyun had no intentions of hitting her as well. Well, we can't expect anything else from an annoying character like her. At that moment, Seojong was about to take out the cutter. But before she could do that, Choi appeared in between them, asking them to not fight loudly in the hallway. There might be a monster who gets attracted by their loud voices. Dohyun said that he wasn't fighting with her. He was just trying to tell her to be considerate of each other. Seojong heard that and just looked away without giving any answer. With 30 minutes left until class time, Dohyun said that they should head back. But Choi stopped him, asking him to come to him quickly. As he walked up to Choi, he saw that Choi was really scared. He pointed to the other side, showing that someone's standing there. When Dohyun looked there, he was shocked as well, because the person standing there was his sister. When Dohyun and Dohian were little, they used to fight each other often. This scene is really cute, but Dohyun's sister got a large part of the ice cream, which made Dohyun cry. After entering middle school, and with puberty overlapping, the doors between them closed firmly. They both felt similar when they saw each other. An extra who you run into while eating. A nuisance who gets in your way. The kind of person who makes things awkward when you run into them on the street. One day while walking home from school, Dohian called him, but he didn't even answer. When she called him again, he couldn't believe that she was talking to him. She said that Mom's birthday is coming next week, so they should prepare for it together. Between them, Dohian was the one who started the conversation. In the present, Dohyun was really worried. Luckily, they were on the same floor and the roads were connected, so he could go and save her. But he can't put everyone in danger like during the first exploration. Thinking that, Dohyun looked toward his group, asking them to go back to the classroom first, and he told Sujene that he would be borrowing her phone for a while. Choi said that he knows how he's feeling, but they're running out of time. Sujene said that if he's going, she would come with him as well. However, Dohyun refused to take them with him, and again asked them to go back. Dohyun didn't wait for their response and ran to save his sister. Seojong also didn't stand there. She started walking back to the classroom. Standing in between, Choi and Sujene were thinking about what they should do. Soon, Dohyun was standing in front of the nurse's office. There was a window beside the door. Looking outside, he thought that there's no other diverging paths on the way. The nurse's office is the entrance. He didn't barge into the room. He remembered the rule: knock on the door and enter quietly. In the past, Dohyun and Dohian celebrated their mother's birthday together. The mother said that she's more happy that they both prepared her birthday together. She asked them if they had finally decided to make up. They both tried to act like they're still fighting, but their mother angrily asked them to stay together from now on. In the present, Dohyun opened the nurse's office door and slowly entered. The nurse's office was completely intact, like nothing happened. Suddenly, Dohyun picked up a cutter and cut his own hand. He did this to make sure he's following all rules. One of the nurse's office rules is you can only use it if you're injured or sick. Then, he picked up the boom and moved forward. Before pushing away the curtain, he bent down to peek inside. After seeing nothing unusual, he entered. There was only a bed sitting in the middle. He looked around and saw that it's surrounded by curtains on all sides. Unlike the classroom, some parts of the office are intact and some are distorted. He remembered Sohan telling that the closer the place was to living beings, the more it would maintain its original state. The front area, where the school nurse and the students receiving treatment were intact, while the bed area, where there were no people, is distorted. Dohyun thought that it wouldn't be a problem because he just needed to move along the edge to find his sister, who was standing near the window. As he moved to push away the curtain, he noticed that it's really tough. He checked the other side, and it was the same as well. In the end, there was one that was normal. He pushed it away and saw the completely same room, with only a bed in the center. Similar to the previous room, this one also had 2 solid curtains, while 2 were normal. Dohyun walked through the curtains many times, but each time he reached this similar room, as if he was in a maze. After confirming it was a maze, Dohyun went back to the starting point and tried to break the solid curtains, but it was too hard. To avoid getting lost, he tried to pull back curtains, but they were firmly fixed, and trying them was also impossible. Similarly, he couldn't rip them off as well. Cutting them was also not an option. Soon, he checked the mobile and saw that only 15 minutes were left until class time. If he left now, he would have to run at full speed to reach the classroom, meaning he can't save his sister. He wondered if returning to the classroom and then coming back would be better. But there's uncertainty that his sister might not be alive by then. At that moment, he remembered Youngwoo telling them that they might have to follow the rules only near the monsters. He bets on that and decides to explore the maze. Passing rooms upon rooms, he draws a map of the maze. While exploring, he also saw a room that had blood on its floor. In the end, Youngwoo couldn't hold on and threw up. As he thought that he didn't have a chance to save anyone, the curtains in front of him opened themselves. Seeing that, he remembered one of the nurse's office rules. The nurse's office bed area can be used when you have health problems such as headaches and stomach aches. Dohyun picked up the broom and walked forward. He thought that a path had opened for the first, and this might be his last chance to save his sister. Dohyun looked up and saw that the building wall was really near. He thought that if the path is connected properly, he should be able to get to the window side soon. He has only moved past one selection, but the smell of disinfectant has started to become overwhelming. Dohyun could also faintly smell something nauseating. For now, he decided to not think about these things and move forward. He thought that the darkened infirmary bed area and the overwhelming smell of disinfectant, other than that, there were no differences from before. He just looked forward and continued moving forward. Soon, he reached an area that had many beds with students lying on top. There were some sprayers spilled on the ground as well. Dohyun flashed the light on one of the beds and saw that the student was completely covered with bandages, almost like a mummy. He also had bloodstains on his shirt and his mouth was open. This was the source of the disgusting smell. Suddenly, Dohyun remembered that the last time he saw his sister, she was in a standoff, holding a pair of scissors. After that, he was delayed in the maze for too long. He wondered if his sister was still fine and thought if he should check these bodies. But he quickly decided to not waste time here and get going. Right then, the lights turned on in the next section. There was a shadowy figure standing near the bed, holding a scissor and a sprayer bottle. On the bed, someone was lying as well. That someone was still conscious when the figure moved the scissor and started cutting the guy. Dohyun heard the students shouting loudly in pain and was stunned. After the figure was done cutting the student, they poured some sanitizer on the student. Dohyun quickly calmed a little and moved to leave the place. He moved slowly in order to not make any sound. At that moment, his phone started ringing because the break time just ended. As he thought that he's done for, a hand reached him. Right then, the monster moved and pushed away the curtain to see who made that voice. This monster is the nurse who was wearing a mask and had her clothes bloodstained. She saw no one in that section because Dohyun was already hiding, and the one who saved him was none other than his own sister, Dohian. Upon seeing each other fine, they both started crying. Dohyun wanted to ask her a lot of questions, but he held them in because their first priority should be leaving this place. Dohyun thought that he was so surprised by the bell earlier that he didn't have time to think, but it's currently class time. He's outside the classroom, but the Korean language monster hasn't appeared. This proves that Jungwa's theory of territory was spot on. This means he only has to avoid the monster beyond the curtain. Right then, Dohian asked him why he came here. Meanwhile, the nurse looked around and saw someone's footsteps on the ground. Following them, she was able to find their location and quickly moved toward it. However, Dohyun was able to notice that and they both ran to another location before the nurse came. Now, they were again in the big section with multiple beds. After standing still for a moment, the nurse suddenly looked back. Fortunately, Dohyun and sister were fully hidden behind the bed, and the nurse wasn't able to see them. Then, the nurse moved to the next section, while Dohyun and his sister ran for the exit of the big section. But while running, Dohyun slipped on the sanitizer that was poured on the ground and fell down. The one who poured this sanitizer was none other than the nurse. Following the voice, the nurse was able to find Dohyun. She quickly threw away the sanitizer bottle and started chasing them. During the chase, Dohyun pushed the bed toward the nurse, but that shook her off only for a moment before she continued the chase again. Passing sections after sections, Dohyun hit a solid curtain and was shocked, saying this can't be right. When Dohyun came in, this was a normal curtain. Dohyun mentioned that it's not just here. All the passages connecting the dark and light areas have turned into walls. Getting into this place means falling into a trap no one can escape. Hearing that, Dohyun realized that his sister's stuck here for a long time. He asked her that if she knew the path he was on was a dead end, why didn't she stop him? Dohyun answered that once that nurse finds her prey, she never lets them go. The person must get on the operating table for the chase to stop. Dohyun couldn't understand what she was trying to say and told her that the monsters created in the black circle each have a rule. If one can find that rule, they can safely get out of here. Hearing that, Dohyun smiled, realizing that a lot had happened to him. Then Dohyun shared even more information. She said that when a monster catches someone and binds them in bandages, it takes way more time than Dohyun could think to reach the operating table. Suddenly, she asked him to run as far as he can during that time and not ever get caught again. Dohyun realized that she was talking about sacrificing herself for his sake. Dohyun asked her to run with him, but she just stood there, telling him to survive. Right then, the nurse pushed away the curtain and was about to stab Dohyun. Seeing that, all the memories of Dohyun spending time with his sister flashed before his eyes. Every time he called his sister from the moment he was just a child to until now. He also remembered the time when Dohyun sent him 5,001 more for Dad's birthday. He was about to send that money back to her, but she asked him to keep it, saying that it would help in trouble. As Dohyun thanked her, the scene shifted to the present. Before the scissor could stab her, someone smashed the nurse's head. The one who did that was Choi, holding a guitar. With him, Sian also arrived there, saying she was looking for him for some time now. Meanwhile, in class 2-1, Yujin decided to show Youngwoo something. The scene shifts again to Group A in the nurse office. After they hit the nurse with the guitar, a path opened up, but that path slowly started closing again. At that moment, both siblings shouted at the same time, asking each other to look behind. Behind Dohian, the nurse appeared and was about to catch her. Fortunately, she ducked in time and dodged her. Dohyun also acted quickly and stopped the curtain from closing itself. But the curtain had turned rock solid, and stopping it was becoming hard. So, he quickly shouted, asking them to enter this section. Right then, Dohian, who was on the ground, looked behind and saw the nurse holding a roll of bandage. She remembered how the nurse used this same roll and caught many students, cutting them with a knife afterwards. Remembering that, Dohian got angry and picked up a scissor from the ground, stabbing the nurse's leg with it. In response, the nurse kicked her away. Right then, Choi arrived there and smashed the nurse's head with the guitar. Because of that, the mask that the nurse was wearing on her face fell, revealing her. Choi got scared after seeing her face and started running away. But the nurse rolled the bandage around the bag that Choi was wearing, stopping him from running. As the nurse approached him, Dohyun came running to the bed and hit her. Taking the chance, they both run away. Luckily, the nurse couldn't enter the section because the curtain closed. With that, the nurse stopped chasing them. Or accurately, she couldn't chase them anymore. She was nothing but one part of the maze, and she didn't have the power to control it. Dohian didn't say a word after having escaped from the dark area. Dohyun couldn't blame her, so he didn't say anything either. Sometime earlier, after Dohyun ran away, leaving Choi and Sian behind, Seo-jong was also heading back to the classroom when Sian stopped her. Sian showed her a map and asked her if she would be able to find her way back to the classroom without it. Sian and Choi then convinced Seo-jong to come with them to look for Dohyun. Soon when they entered the nurse's office, Seo-jong realized that the room is filled with maze. So, she decided to wait outside while the other two explored the maze. While they were exploring, Choi started feeling sick and eventually threw up, which opened a curtain just like it happened with Dohyun. Considering that Choi had started feeling dizzy around the same spot where Dohyun threw up, it didn't seem like a mere coincidence. Dohyun assumed that was the reason why there's so many victims. They all might have felt sick at the spot and arrived at the same place. After wandering around in the maze for a while, they finally found an exit. But the exit was completely destroyed and distorted. Meanwhile, Yujin brought Youngwoo and the others near the window and asked them to look outside. And at that moment, a shocking reveal happened. This school isn't still but continuously moving. This continuous movement is the reason why randomly slopes appear out of nowhere and some places get distorted. The heat is also caused by the friction produced by the movement of school. A few minutes ago in class 1-4, Sohan was about to leave the classroom, but Hyunjun stopped her, telling her that the bell's going to ring soon. But Sohan didn't stop and left the room, saying that she would be back soon. At that moment, the classroom started shaking. The chairs and tables felt like an earthquake has come. In the class 1-1, where Group C is felt the same, the classroom started shaking and smoke arose outside. Jin ran toward the window and looked outside. She saw two buildings crashing into each other, causing this massive shock. Sohan, who went outside, saw the way in front was blocked. Now she has no way to find Group A. Meanwhile, in the nurse's office, Group A was thinking how to get out of here now that the exit has blocked. At that moment, Sujene appeared behind them and said that it's all their fault. She was holding a cutter, as she said that she wouldn't have been stuck in here if they had never stepped foot in here in the first place. She blamed Dohyun for everything, saying that all this happened because he wanted to find his sister. Right then, Sian stepped in front of Dohyun, asking Seo-jong to stop this. Seeing her, Seo-jong's anger shifted from Dohyun to her, because Sian's the one who used the map against Seo-jin and forced her to come here. Seo-jong said that she will never forgive her for that. As Dohyun thought that something bad was about to happen, Seo-jong suddenly started crying like a baby. Sian walked up to her and tried to calm her down. At that moment, the office started shaking again and more walls started swelling and contracting. Realizing that there's no way to use the real exit now, Dohyun decided to find a new one. He walked up to the window and looked outside. The first thing he saw was another building in front and wondered where that building came from. Thinking that, he suddenly got an idea and threw a towel outside. It fell to the ground and stayed completely fine. No burning or anything of that sort. This confirmed that the floor is completely safe to land on. Now, he has to figure out how to get down there safely. He looked back and asked the other to bring as many blankets as they could find. When the others asked him what he would do with the blankets, Dohyun told them that he would make a rope with the blankets and climb down. Dohyun and Choi teamed up to make a perfectly knotted rope, while the other brought the blankets. They twisted the blankets as much as possible, they tapped them, and finally knotted them with the others. They also threw down many pillows so they would break the fall if something went wrong. After the rope was made, they tied it tightly in the office and then threw one end outside. Right then, Sian came running and said to Dohyun that Seonjeong hasn't returned. Dohyun suggested that they all should go and look for her, but Choi volunteered to go alone. Dohyun tried to stop him, but Choi insisted, saying that the walls are swelling and they should start evacuating as quickly as possible. In the end, Dohyun let Choi enter the maze alone. As he left, they didn't waste a second and decided to start evacuating. Because it was Dohyun's idea, he was the first one to test it as well. He slowly climbed down on the rope, taking his time. And finally, he was able to land safely. But he didn't let the others come down immediately. He said that he would find a way out of here first, then they should come out. Sujene and Dohian agreed. However, they didn't stay put, but decided to walk into the maze to find Seo-jong and Choi. Meanwhile, Choi was in the middle of the maze, shouting Seo-jong's name. Right then, a hand came out through one of the curtains, and Choi immediately recognized it as Seo-jong's hand. But when he walked in through that curtain, he saw something horrifying. He saw that Seo-jong's eyes were hollow, one of her eyes was bleeding, and she had a scissor stabbed in her head. Behind her, the nurse was standing, now looking even more horrifying than before. Seeing Choi, the nurse immediately attacked, grabbing his face. On the other hand, it's been 5 minutes since Sejene and Dohyun started looking for Choi and Seo-jong. When Sejene put away her mobile, she saw Dohyun sitting on the ground. Sejene asked her if she was okay, and she asked her to wait a moment. Soon when she was done throwing up, she got up and said that she was okay. Suddenly, she said that she can smell the disgusting smell of that monster, the smell of disinfectant and blood. Hearing that, Sejene asked her if that monster only exists in the maze. Dohian answered yes, and also said that she's sure of that. With that, they decided to just go back and hope that Choi and Seo-jong were fine and hadn't ventured deep into the maze. Meanwhile, Choi was shocked, wondering how the monster was able to get past the wall. As Dohian said, the nurse monster treated people, but it had no control over the walls. And as Sejene said, Seo-jong most likely didn't go very far into the maze. She only crossed like 3 sections from the entrance. The rope-making plan seemed to be going well, without any interference from the monster. But something unexpected happened, as the surrounding walls continued to swell and melt. The walls of the maze were destroyed too, and the monster was set free. It took them 20 minutes to make the rope. At that time, the monster came closer to the maze's exit and found Seo-jong gathering blankets. The monster skipped its usual process and jumped right into treatment. Seo-jong actually had the chance to escape. She could have escaped when she heard the sound of the monster's loafers. But since she wasn't the type to pay attention to whether her classmates wore loafers or slippers, the clue was lost on her. In the present, the monster grabbed Choi from the face. But to take out the scissor from Seo-jong's head, the nurse let him free for a moment. Taking the chance, Choi ran away before the nurse could stab him. After some running, he found the rope and quickly started climbing down. Seeing him, Dohyun was relieved and asked Choi what took him so long. Dohyun also thought that he had already found the way out. Suddenly, the rope started swinging. At that moment, Choi revealed that the monster got out and had also killed Seo-jong. The whole time, Choi was thinking that Sejene and Dohyun had already climbed down. But in reality, they didn't, and Dohyun asked him if he saw his sister and Sejene. Choi was really shocked and looked down, unable to understand what to do. Seeing that, Dohyun shouted, asking him to just focus on climbing down. They will talk about that once he'll come down. But right then, Choi heard the voice of someone cutting something. It turned out that the monster was already here and was cutting the rope. At that moment, Choi realized that he had no hope of surviving. He's still far from reaching down, and it will take the monster just a second to cut the rope. In the end, he just looked toward Dohyun with a smile and said, "It's been nice knowing you." With that, the rope was cut, and Choi fell down head first. Dohyun ran as fast as he could, but couldn't reach Choi. Immediately after hitting the ground, his eyes turned blank and blood started flowing out from his mouth. Dohyun cried a lot for Choi, asking him to look at him, but Choi didn't budge because he was already dead. At the same time, the monster tried to jump out through the window, but an invisible barrier stopped her. The monster tried going out only once and then left. Right then, 2 buildings crashed into each other, making debris fall from the sky. One of the rocks hit Dohyun's head, making him fall unconscious. Meanwhile, Yoon-woo with 2 other students was out exploring, but their way was blocked by the swelled walls. The same problem occurred with Sohan and his group. Sohan mentioned that if they try to find a new way to reach others, it would take hours or even days. He said that they shouldn't do something so reckless. Besides, even if they don't look for the others, they all headed toward the same goal. Their goal is to reach the bottom of the circle. Yoon-woo said to his team that seeing how 2 buildings crashed into each other, they don't have much time to worry about other people. They have to go down instead of finding other students. Sohan said the same thing, and his group also agreed, but with one more condition, saying that they have to look for their friends while moving toward the exit as well. Youngwoo has formed a new group with the class 2 to 1 and revealed to them that the exit is at the very bottom of the circle. In the end, with everything that happened, one can say that class 1-4's map-making plan had failed, and each group started moving toward the exit independently without knowing whether the others were safe or not. Group D was the same as well. They found a new class, packed everything from class 1 to 4 and moved out, leaving class 1 to 4 empty. In the end, Choi, Seo-jong, Sujene. Bro, why they wrote her name? Gimme the ball. Are they disrespecting her? Anyway, Sanji and Yarum are dead. 5 students are dead, while Dohian and Dohian's status is unknown. With that, Season 1 the 44th period survival class ended. Meanwhile, outside the black circle, when the circle formed, students ran away in panic, and some even fell unconscious with shock. When 4 minutes passed outside, a whole day passed inside the circle. After 8 minutes passed, and 2 days inside the circle, the parents of the students started gathering, shouting for their children. 16 minutes passed outside the circle, and Dohian's mother also arrived at the scene. She was shocked to see the scene, unable to understand what to do. With 16 minutes passing outside, for days passed inside the circle. Now I'll have to wait for the next season to start, and I have to say, this webtoon was really good. Give your ratings in the comment sections, and subscribe for more. Also suggest more similar webtoons, manga, and comics in the comment section.